After living in Madrid for over 5 years and exploring every corner of this city, we have put together the perfect guide for the top 15 things you have to do when you visit the capital of Spain.
We have organized the list so that each location is close to the one before, making it even easier for you to explore Madrid. Plus, we've included some local recommendations where you can stop and try some delicious Spanish food because I am from Madrid and I know where all the good spots are. But before we get started, we wanted to let you know that you can get up to 40% discount on hotels in Madrid and worldwide when you create an account on Planning.
If you've watched any of our recent videos, you will know that Planning is a hotel booking platform where you can avail member exclusive discounts.
And what makes it even better is that you can find recommendations from pre-approved travelers just like us, so you can be sure when you're booking your hotels that you're reading reviews from a trusted community. And you can also find and book travel experiences, like for example, a tour for your trip to Madrid.
So go ahead, go to our description, we'll leave the link right there so you can sign up and start availing from member exclusive discounts in hotels in Madrid and worldwide. Now let's get into our top 15. Without any particular order, number 1 goes to the Royal Palace. This is the biggest royal palace in the whole of Europe, so you can imagine how grande it is. The interiors are like exquisite, they're amazing. You do have to book, and we recommend you to book online. It costs 20 euros per person, but if you don't have a ticket, you can just show up, queue, ideally early, and if you're lucky enough, you'll be able to make it in.
The second location is the Almudena Cathedral, which is located very close to the palace, so you can walk there after your visit. And naturally, the entrance for this is free, but it also has a museum and a dome that you can access if you pay a ticket for about 7 euros. And I do recommend to do that because the views from the dome are pretty nice. You can see the skyline of Madrid. But a couple of very interesting facts about this place. It mixes a lot of architectural styles, which is not very common in other cathedrals or churches in Spain. And also this is where the current king and queen got married. But also the last thing you need to know is that if you do want to visit the dome, you should go in the morning because it does close at 2:30 p.m. Although the rest of the cathedral you can visit until later in the evening, again, without needing a ticket.
Place number 3, Plaza Mayor. This is the famous red central square in the center of Madrid. In reality, a lot of European cities have this like main square, and this is Madrid's. Here is where the majority of old school stuff used to happen, like public ceremonies and bullfights and even markets. In fact, if you go there during Christmas, they still set up the market there, and it's pretty amazing. And one thing that you can do as well is grab yourself a bocadillo right there. However, I must spoil you because place 4 is probably a better place for you to grab a little snack.
Yes, but bocadillo de calamares is pretty traditional. It's essentially fried squid in bread, which I know doesn't sound like much, but this is basically what everybody used to eat in this square. So it's not that common in other areas of Madrid, but here you will definitely find a really good one. So now getting into the point that Naz was making is the 4th location, Mercado de San Miguel. This is a covered market that was built in the early 1900s, and back in the day it used to be a wholesale market, but now it's a gourmet tapas market. And guys, when I tell you don't miss this spot, it's because the guide is here, they love it.
Okay, first of all, I just like good food, and they happen to have a lot of good food. Is it overpriced? It's a little bit on the pricier end. It's obviously tailored towards tourists, but guess what? You are most likely tourists, and so have I been for many, many years. So yes, I do recommend you to go there. I
do think that the tapas are good quality though. This is only a short walk from Plaza Mayor, so it's definitely worth stopping by when you're in the area, and yeah, you'll be able to find like all the local foods. Tortilla, croquetas, cheeses, paella, seafood, you name it, you'll be able to find it there.
Number 5 is trying churros with chocolate. Now, this is a very Spanish thing. I still think it's Portuguese, but hey, I'm biased.
No, it's not.
But in this place that we recommend is really close to the previous 2 ones, which is Chocolateria San Ginés. And this place has been open since 1894. And it's still busy, even though it's open 24/7. So you can go out and then go get your churro. During the day, you can go there, get your churro. And it's really, really tasty.
This is the most famous place to grab your churros con chocolate in Madrid. So a lot of the times there is a large queue outside that you have to wait until you get in. But if you're not feeling up for waiting, you can find churros with chocolate in other cafeterias around the area, but obviously this is like the main one. Location number 6 is Plaza del Sol, another of the most iconic and busiest squares in Madrid. In fact, it is considered to be the center of Madrid in itself. And what's really interesting about this area is that in the 15th century, Puerta del Sol was one of the gates of the city of Madrid, and it had the decoration of the rising sun, so that's what gave it the name of Puerta del Sol, which translates to the gates of the sun. And here you can find the Casa de Correos, which traditionally used to be the main post office of Madrid, but nowadays it's just the headquarters of the government, and it's where you can find the iconic clock where us Spanish people used to celebrate New Year's Eve, and that's how we count down every year towards the new year.
And right in front of the Casa de Correos, there's a little plaque on the floor that says kilometer 0, and that's literally considered the center of the whole of Spain, because it's what gives the start of all of the road networks across the whole country. So that's the center of Spain right there. Place number 7 is just up the road from Puerta del Sol, and it's called Gran Via. This is often the #1 spot for most of the tourists that come to Madrid. It is like the Broadway of Madrid. And right at the center of it, apart from lots of shops, you can see this iconic Schweppes building. This building is in all the main pictures of Madrid's postcards, and it's really, really iconic. Do be aware though that it gets really crowded at times in this area, so perhaps it's good to take a couple of pictures and just go ahead and explore the side streets.
Unless you want to do some shopping.
Unless,
it's really good for shopping. Location number 8 is the famous Retiro Park. Now I'm speaking like English people. Retiro Park. And you can actually walk from it from Gran Via. You will pass by Cibeles and Puerta de Alcalá, which are other iconic landmarks that don't usually get a lot of representation, but it's really nice to see them throughout your way. And then you will reach Retiro Park, which is the biggest park in the center of the city. It has a lake, so you can even rent like a rowboat, and it's just really nice to go for a walk. Super green, super chilled.
One of the fun facts about Retiro is that somewhere in the park you can find the statue of the fallen angel, and this is one of the few statues around the world that symbolizes the devil.
And another thing that you can see in Retiro is the Crystal Palace, which is essentially like a glass house that was built in the 1800s as a greenhouse for exotic plants, but nowadays it's used to show modern exhibitions. So if you're lucky, you'll be able to go inside and there will be something cool and modern to see.
Very close to Retiro you can find El Prado Museum, and this is one of the best art museums in the world. You can find pieces from El Greco, Bosch, Velázquez, and a lot more. Pro tip, if you go between 6 and 8 p.m, it's going to be free, but it's going to be very, very busy. Otherwise, a ticket costs 15 euros, and do account for time because it is a relatively big museum. You're gonna need a good few hours to explore it end to end.
Location number 10 is another museum in a slightly different area of Madrid, but this time it's going to be for modern and contemporary art. And this museum is called Museo de Reina Sofía. And here, the showstopper is gonna be Picasso's Guernica painting. You might have heard of it. Is displayed right there. You can see it up close, which was pretty cool when we did it. But apart from that, you can also find famous works from Dalí and Miró and some other contemporary painters.
I mean, it's not everywhere that you can see an original piece from Picasso. So yes, this is a big museum if you love art.
And this museum also has a few hours, some days of the week, where you can go for free. That's between 7 and 9 p.m, but it's not all of the days of the week, so just check them out on the website just in case it changes with holidays and stuff. But yeah, it's a good tip that you can go to most of the museums in Madrid for free if you are strategic with your visit.
Location number 11 is Templo de Debod. This is a temple that was gifted by Egypt in 1968! As a thank you for the Spanish help in saving the Abu Simbel temples in Egypt. Yes. And this is really a prime spot for golden hour because the sunset here just hits different. So with that being said, make sure to get there a little bit before sunset to grab yourself a good spot because the pictures there and the views from there are just phenomenal.
And after the sun goes down, the temple piece, it's not like a full temple, it's temple pieces get like lit up, so it's just a really beautiful place to watch the sun go down and seeing a different part of Madrid as well. Location number 12 is an area called Malasaña. This is kind of like the trendy cousin of Madrid, and I say cousin, but it's actually like really close in the center of Madrid, and here you can find so many vintage shops, boutique stores, really quirky cafes, and at night this place comes alive. If you want to go to like bars that are super different, this is the place to be, because there's just so many cool options. You'll see that it's not your typical bar, and there's also like a lot of terraces where you can sit, grab a drink, and it's great for everybody who wants to do like a late night and just want to go for a drink.
Location number 13, and this is for the football lovers out there, visiting the stadium of Real Madrid, Santiago Bernabéu. I've actually been there before, but it was before it was renovated. Now it's even more modern, it's futuristic, it's beautiful, and you can get a tour of the stadium for as little as 35 euros if you don't go during game time. And if you do go during game time, well, purchase yourself a ticket and experience what the best footballing atmosphere in the world looks like. Because yes, the team is star-studded, the whole environment is crazy, it's full of tech, amazing show. So yes, even if you're not a football fan or a Real Madrid fan, I do recommend you to give it a visit.
Location number 4 is the El Rastro market, and this one is actually only opened on Sundays, so you can't go any other day. But essentially what this is the biggest open market in the whole of the city. Again, only happens on Sundays, and the things that you can find there are pretty unique. Vintage finds, you're gonna find unique pieces. It's all about quirky items in this market. It does get really busy since it only happens once a week, so I would recommend you to try to go before 10 a.m. before the crowd hits, but it's really completely different experience from what it is going to other markets in the center of Madrid. It is located in La Latina, which is a more edgy neighborhood, more local neighborhood in the south of Madrid, and yeah, it's a pretty cool shopping experience.
And after you finish shopping, you can go for some tapas in the area for a drink. There's this place called El Viajero and another place called Casa Amadeu, which is famous because you can try some snails there. It's an acquired taste, not my taste.
Not for me.
But if you want to try something cultural, go for it.
And the last activity that you have to do in Madrid is go for a drink to a rooftop bar, because the views are beautiful, and if you catch the sunset, even more amazing.
We recommend these two places. One is Azotea
del Círculo de Bellas Artes, which essentially sits on top of a arts building and has incredible views. I've taken you there.
Yes, I've taken you there, and it costs 5 euros per person. There's music in the background, there's great vibes. You can see the Plaza de Cibeles much more in the center of Madrid. And there's another place called Rio, which is a hotel. It's 10 euros per person plus drinks, but also very, very good vibes, and you can have great views of the center of Madrid.
In the one in Rio, you get a 360-degree view of Madrid, and it's actually really, really high. I think one of the highest ones that we've been to for sure. So you get amazing views. What's really cool is that if you stay in that hotel, you get free access to the rooftop. But this is a spoiler for the next video, where we're going to be sharing the best hotels in Madrid, so make sure to subscribe to not miss that video.
But that's going to be everything for today's video. Hopefully we have given you enough to do in Madrid. And if you have more time and you want to do more stuff, hit us in the comments. We'll give you more recommendations.
As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more Spain and Madrid content coming up. And as always, I guess we'll see you in our next video.